Got no time to always keep an eye on the stock market? You can stop worrying about the stocks that you have and those that you don't after setting up your conditional order. Set, forget, don't fret. Now available on AB Capital Advantage. Here's how. Log in to your AB Capital Advantage account. On the Quick Trade tab, select either buy or sell and choose Stop Limit as type of order. Select a stock and indicate the number of shares. Set the limit price. It's the highest price at which you are willing to buy or the lowest price at which you are willing to sell stocks. Set the trigger price. Once the price of the stock reaches your trigger price, the platform will automatically start buying or selling the stock. Please take note. For buy orders, the trigger price should be greater than the current stock price. For sell orders, the trigger price should be less than the current stock price. Lastly, choose the term of your conditional order. It can be good for a day, a week, or a month. But please keep in mind that triggered conditional orders are only valid on the day they are triggered. That easy! With the AB Capital Advantage conditional order feature, you don't have to miss stock market opportunities and you can manage investment risk even when you are away. Find out how you can have access to our AB Capital Advantage platform by visiting our website.
Welcome to the Philippine Mine Safety and Environment Association, or PMSEA Botanical Garden. The forerunner in the promotion of occupational safety and health, sound environmental management, and social responsibility in the minerals industry. This garden was formerly known as the Botanical Garden. On September 1, 2009, it was renamed Centennial Park in celebration of Baguio's 100 years of being the summer capital of the Philippines. The present garden is being maintained and cultivated by the Philippine Mine Safety and Environment Association with the support from its partners and members in the mining industry in partnership with the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, its bureaus, Mines Geosciences, Environment and Management, Forest Management, in cooperation with the city government of Baguio. This garden spans over a hectare with more than 1,500 plants. % are endemic species which are found only here in the Philippines. Like this plant, Kapa-Kapa, featured in the new 10 peso coin. Fun fact, Kapa-Kapa is also edible. % are native species, meaning they are found here in the Philippines and in other countries. 50% of these plants are imported from other countries. Like this beehive ginger, which came from our neighboring countries in Southeast Asia. The sap from this plant is also a natural shampoo. This garden is dedicated to the people of Baguio and the entire Filipino nation as an endowment of the PMCEA as a symbol of its gratitude to the future generation.
Maganda po. Kasi ngayon lang kami pumasok dito.
Pero napakaganda pala.
Maganda naman po, okay naman siya. Very suiting po yung place. Sobrang dami pong nag-iba, sobrang dami pong improvements ang nangyari since the last time po na nanggaling po ako dito.
Okay naman siya, considering na 10 pesos lang yung entrance, parang worth it kasi ang daming Instagrammable spot. So parang kung mahilig ka sa picture, parang may enjoy mo tong place na to. And ang catch pa dun is 10 pesos lang yung entrance.
Thank you, PMCEA!
Thank you, PMCEA!
Thank you, PMCEA!
The Philippine Mine Safety and Environment Association believes that responsible mining is the key to a great nation.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today on this call as we bring to you Apex Mining Company Inc. as they share with us their third quarter 2022 and 9 months 2022 financial and business results. I am Jeff Tang, and I will be your host and moderator throughout this afternoon. We are privileged to be speaking once again to Mr. Ramon Peter Adviento, Apex Mining Company's AVP for Investor Relations. To those who will only be hearing and seeing Mon for the very first time, well, Mon has 30 years of solid experience under his belt in the fields of mining, investor relations, mergers and acquisition, valuation and project assessment, as well as asset optimization. Mon is a mining engineer and he earned his degree from the University of the Philippines, where he ranked 7th in the 1990 licensure exam. Mon also finished his master's in business management at the Asian Institute of Management, or AIM. Hello, Mon. Good to be speaking to you again today.
Yeah, likewise. To everyone. I'm wearing a cap because I have to reduce the reflectivity of my head. Anyway, the video earlier is uh, is the Botanical Garden in Baguio,
Mm.
and our president is also the president of PIMSEA. So, ay,
Oh.
dito, we gave this a lot in the PIMSEA, sayang. No? But,
Hindi pa nga
so,
umaabot dito, Mon eh.
kaya nga eh, alakas ko, baka pwede nating i-distribute.
Oo nga eh.
At any rate, that botanical garden was what you call this. We just renewed the relationship with the Baguio in 2022, and basically, if you look at ISRI is 100% owned or a subsidiary, fully owned subsidiary of Apex Mining. Okay,
Mm. Yes.
so there's easily 160 species there, flora and fauna. Okay, so and it was spearheaded by our president, and it was of course arranged by our beautiful Miss Tere Pasis. So
Sobrang green nga eh. Pero Mon, was that the previous mine site?
no,
Where
no,
the
no.
botanical...
That's
Ay, hindi pa.
the botanical garden is the old botanical garden. Okay, but before we came in, if you look at it in 2011, it's a totally different what you call this place. So basically, we refurbished it, replanted it, and then put more green and what you call this, make sure that the water is flowing.
Napatingin nga ako doon sa 10 pesos eh. Naguluhan ako for a moment. I was thinking ano ba yung 10 pesos na yun? If it's, baka iniisip niya kasi like, higher than the fair value price ni Steady Tito of 8 pesos. So, entrance fee
Steady
lang pala.
Tito. Entrance fee lang. Hindi na ako
Entrance fee lang wala.
8 pesos. Twice. I have to earn 5 billion for that.
Paraffle naman daw kayo ng Apex merch. Mon, this is really a good time to be talking about the price, though. It's a very, I guess, auspicious time to be holding this earnings call because, well, as our audience has mentioned, it was a pretty good session for Apex today. Of course, it was a good day, but we're not just looking at one day. No, we're looking at more than a few centavos of increase. I know that you have a lot to share with us, and our audience has a lot of questions to ask as well. So, with that, I'll let you go through the presentation so that we can um, answer some questions later on.
Okay. So that's our Mako mine. And if you look at it, it's really heavily forested, around 77%. It's easily over 2.1 million tons of carbon dioxide captured and continues to capture many of 31,000 tons a year. That was done in 2018 study. Okay, next slide, please. So as a disclaimer, there are forward-looking statements, so we have to state that. So moving to the next slide. Okay, ESG. Next slide, please. Okay, so the next slide basically just tells you what we've been doing in the last quarter, wherein we replanted on the Pantukan mangrove area, and we've already planted more than 581 hectares or 309,000 seedlings since 2011, and we continue to do so. And right now we have plans to increase the hectarage, but not in Pantukan, but in a mangrove area close to our what they call this to the province. Okay, next slide, please. So the next is the IPs. So basically, in the Indigenous Peoples Day, we celebrated with our Mansakas from Mako and Ibaloys from Sangilo. Okay, so every year we do this, and so it's something that we try in order to improve or maintain the cultural heritage of our indigenous people. Next slide, please. Okay. So on the next slide, basically this is the current update in terms of our training center. It's being painted right now. So by next year, our relationship with TESDA, we will be undertaking a lot of trainings for job creation outside of the mining industry. Okay. Then of course an update, chocolate processing. Oh, we're the chocolate processing plant. We're now giving this as a giveaway for Christmas gift to our friends and clients. I'll try to ask Tere if she can include the guys who normally listen to this earnings call. Okay. And then of course our face mask machine still continues to produce for the LGU and for the office. Next slide, please. Okay. With respect to the governance issues, our safety at work, we've reached over 7 million man hours already. And then we've been a consistent top taxpayer in Mako and also the top business taxpayer in what do you call this in Mako. Okay. So that's for the governance issue. And then next slide, please. Now we go to the third quarter production and financial highlights. Next slide, please. Okay, if you look at the production volume, it was basically up 19% of what we mined. But we did 207,000 in the quarter. It's up 19.2. And with respect to the mill, it basically processed 209,000, up by 13.9%. But what was the kicker was basically the head grades, the one that were feeding the mine. Basically, it's up by 2.3 from 3.93 from previous year's third quarter. We average around 4.02 for that quarter, and thus the resulting production. If you look at it, it's up by 21% for gold and up by 7% for silver. So we produced around 23.7 thousand ounces of gold and 96,000 ounces of silver. And with respect to our sales to Heraeus, basically it's up 29.6% for gold and then 15.8% for silver, or 24,000 ounces of gold and 100,000 ounces of silver. For the next slide, if you look at the financial numbers, year in year out, gold prices shrunk by 3.6% during the third quarter period, and silver hit at what they call this step back by 20%. Okay, so but the resulting revenue was quite high, but the kicker really was basically foreign exchange rate. Because remember, we we earn in dollars, and we are currently riding the high foreign exchange rate. For that period, we did 56.6 average, and then if you look at it on year, it was up by 12.5%. And you look at the 12% increase in foreign exchange rate plus the 21% in gold increases, thus the resulting revenue was really high. So it's up by 46%. So basically, we did 2.6 billion for gold and 111 million for silver. So for gold, we're up by 46%, and for silver by 6.5%, for a total of 43.8% for the quarter. So if you look for the net income for the quarter, we did almost 900 million. It's up 243 or 244%, okay, as compared to previous year's results. Okay, so next slide, please. So if you look at the 9th month production and financial highlights, the results are as follows. Okay, for production volume, it's up 24.6%. Basically, we mined 588,000 tons, and then we milled 601,000 tons, or up by 17.1%. And the grade for the 9-month period was around 3.97, or almost 4, and it's up by 15.1%, because the previous year's grade was around 3.45 grams per ton. And then for metals production, the resulting gold production at 74,000 ounces is up 36.6% for this year on year, and for silver it's up by 13.5%. And if you look at the precious metal sales, okay, gold it's up by 37.4, 73,000 ounces, and then silver up by 11.9% at 291,000 ounces. Next slide, please. In terms of the financials, okay, our gold was down 1.7 for the year, for the yes, and then silver was down by 12%. So right now, gold is trying to catch up. Okay, it's now 1760 earlier, so hopefully it goes up higher. Okay, so foreign exchange rate for that 9-month period was average 53.85, or still up by 12.5%. Okay, and then with respect to revenues, our revenues was up by 53.4 for gold. We made around 7.1 billion pesos, and for silver we made around 339, or up by 6.3%. And for the total of the two metals, we made 7.5 billion, up by 50%. And for net income, it was previous 9th month was a loss of 136 million because of impaired losses. that we declared. Uh, the net income of 2.461 billion is basically up 1,913%. Okay. So next slide, please. So if you look at because this is critical moving forward, right now the peso is around 56.6. So that would be the average that we experience for the third quarter. Okay. And if moving forward, that would be the price or the foreign exchange rate for the whole year of 2023. The year would be, we would still experience a gain in terms of foreign exchange. Okay, because the whole year average would be closer to 53 or 52 and a half to 53 pesos per dollar. And if the year next year will do 56, so we still up in terms of foreign exchange. But if the prices, if let's say the peso strengthens, uh, there is a corresponding correction. Okay, but if you look right now at the what you call this gold prices, right now it has been recovering. Okay, so as I said earlier, it was doing well at 1760. Sorry, 1777 now. Okay, so basically it's recovering. So the US is now basically the interest rate hike has been discounted already, and we're now looking at more of the recession in terms of the US. So in a recession, the gold normally goes up. Okay. So next slide, please. So if you're looking at the can production cost of the company, for the 9 month, we average around $774 per ounce of gold without general and administrative expenses. No? So, but on cash cost, all in with GNA, it should be $846. Okay, for the 9 month. Now let us compare an all-in cost. So the next slide. Okay. Now you'll see that for the 9th month, our all-in cost will be around $971. But if you look at the average all-in cost of all the mines in the world, more than 3,000 mines, okay, it's $1,232 per ounce, okay, for the first quarter of 2022. And APX is $971. So we're basically in the middle pack already, so or in the third quartile. So we're kind of safe. And if you look at the 90% percentile of the all-in sustaining cost, it's almost 1,600 plus dollars. So Apex is surviving and will survive even, let's say, it goes down to 1,200. Okay, so next slide, please. So if you look at our forecast production for this year, our forecast was 80,000, but we're gonna breach this. We're easily gonna hit 88,000, 87 to 88,000, and same with silver. We're closing to 400,000. So the forecast for 2023, 88. I think we'll be adjusting that for the next years of presentation materials, because it seems that we are advanced, and the grades that we're encountering and forecast to encounter is relatively closer to the 4 grams per ton. So quite comfortable. And then even up to 2025, when it will start to plateau, after that it will plateau for the Mako mine. Mako mine only, not the, it doesn't include the other mines. Okay, it will plateau at that level around 105,000 ounces at 106, 2026 level. Okay, so next slide, please. So if you look at the sensitivity, okay, Right now at 1770, we should be break even, all in break even should be around 2.5 uh, 2.5 grams per ton. And since we're feeding it close to 4 grams, we're earning. Right now at 1770, we should be looking at 52 dollars per gram. So if you look at the difference, if we're, let's say, feeding 4 and our break even is 2.5, basically one and a half. So basically you're gonna earn more than 60 or $70 per ton of ore that we're feeding the mill. Okay, so we're pretty comfortable. So if let's say we're gonna hit 800,000 tons of ore milled next year, uh, times let's say $70, so that should be a pretty rough figure of what we're gonna make. Okay, in terms of dollars. Okay, so we're pretty comfortable, stable, comfortable, and we are continuing our expansion program. And going to the next slide, okay, that's our capex, and our capex budget is going down already because we're already, what do you call this, about to complete our expansion program on Mako and then the Sangilo. Okay, and after 2026, at the 1.1 billion annual capex budget, that is only a sustaining capital budget. Okay, for further development because we're an underground mine, and then for exploration work. Okay, so that what does it tell us? It tells us we have a lot of room for dividends, and we are going to maintain our 10% dividend policy, and hopefully there'll be more dividends to come. Okay, so next slide, please. So summary of growth prospects, Mako operation. Next year, we will be adjusting that break-even price sensitivity because if you look at that, it was at 2,250. Next year, we'll be using 2,300 tons per day operation because right now we're doing 2,300 tons per day. So the sensitivity will be lower in terms of grams per ton. So that 2.58 on the 1,700, that will drop a little. Okay, so if you look at the Mako, 2, 3 next year, and hopefully 3,000 by 2025, and then we continue our exploration drilling, and there'll be what you call this, uh, more gold is being discovered lately. Okay, and then with respect to our Mapula Pag-asa group, we've already started the drilling program to expand the resource base because we noticed that it is under drilled, and therefore we expect more larger resource base in that possible copper gold mine. Okay, and then hopefully in 3 to 4 years time, that will become another mine that will be contributing to the bottom line. With respect to the Sangilo, the capacity right now that 400 ton per day is already being achieved with respect to the mill, but our permit is at 500 tons per day. Okay, and once we get the APSA, we'll immediately apply for another mill at 1,500 tons per day. Okay, and then the resource base, we're comfortable that the 19 million tons we're going to hit. We're gonna hit a 30 million ton resource base once the APSA is approved and our exploration program, okay, is completed. Now, with respect to the Suyok, that 50 will become a 200 ton operation in the next few years, and then we're looking really at that Palidan prospect. So hopefully it will become a realization. And then Monte Oro, the mill, we're now doing something with respect to the mill, Hopefully by next year it will start contributing already. And then of course the possible buyout of the investors for the our foreign assets, which we impaired last year for 1.3 billion. And then with respect to service contract 72, it's still some pagita, okay? And hopefully we get to drill that next year or within the next 2 years, okay? So that earns my presentation. I'm now up for Q&A.
Thank you very much, Mon, for that very comprehensive discussion. And I have to say, congratulations on the very strong third quarter numbers. This is the third time I think that we're doing this earnings call, but I feel that there's a lot to unpack with the presentations. In fact, I have a lot of questions reserved here. But before we get to my question, mamaya actually I want to go back to that AISC cost comparison that you've mentioned, as well as the sensitivity analysis, no. But let me feel this first question first. The question is coming from, wala, not able to see it from, ayun. Um, okay, it's
Fred
blinking.
Garcia.
Yes, from Alfred Benjamin Garcia. Actual production as of 9 month 2022 is already more than 90% of your target this year for gold and silver. Galing. Any guidance on production for this and next year? I believe you've answered this already, but for
Yes.
the sake of everyone, uh, what would be your production guidance for this year and next year?
Right now it's 80, but we're gonna hit between closer to 88. Okay.
88,000, yeah.
Yeah.
For
And
this is
next year
for
the
gold?
guidance is 88. We don't know. We might break it also, so we don't know.
Uh-huh,
Okay.
uh,
It just we lately we've been encountering high grade spots.
uh-huh.
So let's say
Well,
we're expecting 4 grammers, we're hitting 4.5, 4.7.
wow. But Mon, I guess let me just interject with this question. Since this is like of course this is your target is 3.97, I think, no, or something to that effect, but you're hitting 4.5. Is this spot just a preview of what that spot can give you in terms of ore grades, or is this something to do with your ability to find the vein?
No, it's there. Because we always apply a mine call factor of 90%, meaning
Mm-hmm.
if let's say we expect 4.6, you apply a 90% call factor. So because there might be dilution effect.
Mm-hmm.
So because of mining it, so from 4.7 it will drop to 4.2. So
Mm-hmm.
then there's further blending done outside because we basically also feed low grade material around
Yeah.
2 grammers. Okay, so the net
Mm.
effect is the average grade that the mill will trade will drop. So let's say if we're actually feeding 4.5,
Mm.
because we're also feeding 2 grammers, it will drop to let's say 4.1. But we
Oh.
maintain it because we have to sustain the mill, meaning
Uh-huh.
the mill is voracious.
Mhm.
So it will eat. It will just consume it. It will produce gold. Okay. So it's just for us, we have to be conscious about it. So that's why our active phase is a lot. So if you look at the underground workings, there's a lot
Mhm.
of active stopes right now, just trying to deliver the tonnages.
I see. Okay. So Mon, just to recap, that's 88,000 most likely for this year. And then for next year, how is your budget looking like for 2023 in terms of ounces?
Harvey, that's only for Sangilo. That's only for Mako. Sangilo is a minor, so basically it's around 4%. So, for example, our budget for this year, we only expect Sangilo to produce 8,000 ounces. So, it's not that
Mm,
big.
about 10% contribution. Yeah, this is from Your Majesty. What is your debt profile How much is based on fixed interest rates and how much is based on floating rates? Thank you and congrats of a great performance.
Well, if you look at the debt profile, we're not really heavily indebted, so we're quite on the low side. I think below 1:1. I think 0.8.
Mm.
And then there are fixed rates, then are floating rates. But that is normally disclosed in our uh, 17, 17Q, so you can
Mm.
read on that. But it's not that heavy on us. Right now, we're managing it. And if you look at our interest coverage ratio, it's quite low. So
Mm.
basically, easily serviceable. And since
Mm.
we have more equity than debt, so that's why we're not really heavily indebted right now. We're,
Mm.
it's very manageable.
Okay. When this is from Jongjong Vlogs. When production plateaus in 2025 at around 100,000 ounces per year, how many years more can production be at that level? It's a good question.
Yeah, that's a very good question because
Mhm.
if you look at it, we're really dependent in terms of our exploration program to increase our reserves. Okay, so but if you look at our mineral resource, we have basically 10 more years, or let's say until 2032. Okay, maintaining 3,000 ton per day operation. Okay, so we can do that until 2032, uh, pending what you call this more results from exploration. But I was in discussion with our geologists and our mine planners. Are basically what's included in the resource is level 500 and up. So up to level 900 or level 830, which is the portal. Okay, so level 500, but uh, meters.
Meters.
Okay, so if you look at the drainage tunnel, there's a proposed drainage tunnel at 380,
Mm.
and we have drill intercepts indicating resources or gold deposits found below 380, even at 320. So that is yet not included. So they are now evaluating and putting in more holes to increase.
Mm.
So, but that is basically on the current resource.
Mm.
So there's more potential for more because we basically have not yet hit on the what you call this on the left side of the deposit, which is the one beside the Mapula Pagasa. Okay, so because it's a lot of
Mm.
copper there,
Mhm.
so that can be an additional few years. So basically, what they were saying it will be more. It's just
Mm.
it's dependent on the exploration program, and we have more hectarage that
Uh,
are open for exploit. So
so
that's
this
big.
is this is for the Mako and the Sangilo mines only, no? What you're talking
No,
about
that
yung
is
nasa
only
380.
for Mako.
Mako pa lang.
The Sangilo is bigger once the what you call this
Yeah.
the APSA is approved. Once the APSA is approved, that's 19 million tons or almost 2 million ounces.
Mm.
So
Mm.
if let's say you're producing 100,000 ounces, oh, we only expect around 30,000 ounces from Sangilo at 1,900 tons per day. Okay,
Mm.
30,000, yeah, thereabouts. The 100 will become 130 once it stabilizes.
Mm.
So
So that's like a 20 years, no? Anyway, this is from, continuing on, this is from Renee Allison. In 3Q 2022, power costs jumped 44%. Could you shed some color on how you source power and how much of total costs historically have been attributable to power? Another good question.
yeah, that's a good question. If we look at their cost profile, yes, power has jumped because of what happened in what you call this Ukraine. Basically,
Mm. Yeah.
all hydrocarbon really jumped. No? So that's why Semirara is so rich right now. Anyway, so yes, it has affected us. We've been able to manage it. But yes, that is why our costs really went up. So if you look at our GNA, it should have been down, but basically it was hit. Our power is around what? Mine and mill should be closer to 30% of their cost. So if we're now doing around $70, and then the mine and mill should be closer to $30, okay, per ton. Okay, so the power there should be closer to $8 right now,
Mm.
but it's still manageable. Okay.
Mm. From Steady Tito, sir, any news about the local expansion in Camarines Norte?
Well, it will be operational already next year, but of course, it's still debugging process, and we're still waiting for the what you call this the permit. So we're still under the Minahang Bayan system.
Mm.
Okay, but once the permit is granted, we will be exploring because our acreage or property is more than 1,500 hectares there. So
Mm.
we will be drilling that, and that is a rich ground. It's easily a lot of them are 6 and up grammars.
Mm. Mm. Wow.
So yeah. So if let's say that is approved, the starter mill is just a starter mill. So we will be
Mhm.
designing a new mill and then also the attendant facilities for the new mill. So, but that's still highly dependent on the approval of the APSA to an MPSA, and
Mhm.
then we will undertake a exploration program. But we are pretty confident that we can set up a mill. Okay, it's just a question of the permits and then more exploration work.
One from the debugging or from the starter mill to the actual commercial production. How many years does it normally take?
Depends on the size, but a
Mm.
minimum is normally the quickest from green to brown should be closer to 24 months.
Mm, 2 years.
That's a standard in the industry,
Uh,
but for small scale, it's you can do it in less than a year.
and it's not yet part of your budget, no? Yung dun sa production that you showed earlier. Okay.
With respect to the capex guidance, it is still the same. It is
Mhm.
just internally generated cash. Okay,
Mhm.
so easily we will be doing 2 to 3 billion pesos in cash. Okay, easily.
Mm, mm.
And as expansion, Kelsey as expansion program stabilizes, uh, we'll have more cash. No? And since our capex guidance is going down,
Mm.
there'll be a lot of free cash.
Mm. That's 3 billion. So from Miss Gina B, where do you see gold prices given current macroeconomic conditions? Do you expect it to hold at current levels?
Well, right now, the hawkish Jerome Powell has basically slowed down. Okay,
Mm.
so if you look at the current interest rate environment, the U.S. Treasury is really sucking up a lot of the investable funds.
Mm.
But since they started slowing down because of uh, si- signs that the inflation is taming, it's slowly going down. Fears of recession is coming in, and recession is the environment where gold is really happy. Okay, so
Mm.
that's why there's a lot of forecasts that gold will reach $2,000 again. Uh, but on our side, our long-term forecast is 1750. We drop it to 1680, but suddenly, when we realize that the gold is recovering and this looks like to be a blip, okay,
Mm.
we'd rather maintain the 1750. Okay,
So this is from Omar naman mon. Sir, is gold and silver the only mineral deposit available on your mines? What if you come across nickel or other minerals that you can sell? Would it be possible to expand in other mineral resources?
Well, the problem there is that the minerals that we're encountering and the process that we have, gold is number one priority. Now, if we encounter, let's say, we've encountered copper, we're now evaluating it, and if the drill program holds a much larger resource base, we are going to update our feasibility study, and if it's really attractive enough, given that copper prices is recovering, or let's say right now it's down because of the COVID, but now it's again flipping because the long-term prospects for copper and cobalt or the EV metals are really good. Hopefully, we'll be able to enjoy or ride the bandwagon in the copper in the
Mm.
next based on
Mondre,
that asset.
follow-up question regarding copper. Since si Herreos is your primary client, would Herreos have demand for copper in case all of a sudden you'll find uh, a stable copper production?
No, Herreus won't be our market. Herreus is
Mm.
basically gold and silver.
Mhm.
And we were talking to the Herreus guys 2 weeks ago,
Mhm.
and they were saying that they're using our production, our dore, gold and silver, for their silver wires and silver paste and gold wires for the photovoltaic industry, for the solar panels. Wow,
That's right.
we were surprised, and I were say, we asked them if we can declare it. He said yes. So eventually we'll declare it, but at least we're saying that wait, we're green.
Uh,
Okay.
just like the host earlier on your video, sobrang green niya rin talaga.
Oh, wow.
Pero one more question. Would you be able to share with us how many percent of the ounces of gold and silver that you sell to Horeus that they are now using for the PV for PV use?
We let's say right now our sales to Herreus is so small. Okay.
Mm.
Let's say we made 7 billion or total of 10 billion in a year pesos. So down to that, that's around $200 million.
Mm.
Okay, their annual sales is $28 billion. So it's too
Mm.
small.
Oh yeah.
So that component we don't know. But there is saying that yes, because we produce a lot of silver, we use your products for
Mm,
that.
mm,
So Herreys is right now 100% our customer, the only
uh,
customer. Okay, but
at
if copper
1%.
comes in, the copper smelters or copper traders will also come in. So that can be Glencore, Richmond,
Mm.
those other groups. So,
That's good to know. From Miguel, good afternoon. Given how undervalued the company is relative to its fundamentals and financial performance, are there any plans to increase shareholder servicing through increased dividends or buybacks?
right now, because of it's like this. We will maintain the 10%. That's a given. If there's an extra, if the board, let's say the board decides to give extra, well and good, we'll immediately declare it. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, but we are also reserving our cash or capital for our expansion programs or for possible new mines. For example, the
Mhm.
Mapula. Okay.
Mhm.
So we are not really averse in raising debt or
Mhm.
issuing new debt, but right now we're trying to be conservative. So we know our industry commodity prices are fluctuating, so
Mhm.
we'd rather be defensive about it.
Mhm.
But yes, we will be uh, we maintain that policy of 10%. And if there's free cash, hopefully our board will see the light, okay, and declare more.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
check the financial statements. That would give you an inkling of it.
One, so again, just to highlight what you mentioned earlier, the free cash flow, I guess we can say net of the 10% dividends would probably be around 2.7 billion, tama ba? Is that the amount
Yeah,
of free cash flow? Yeah, that's right. And your capex once again for 2023 is budgeted at less than
1.8.
1.8.
1.8.
1.8 billion. So that means that you have about, if ever you want to explore other mine sites, you have that 800 million pesos that you can utilize from internally generated cash, right?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Okay. So, okay, this is from Raf Urge. What is the status of the air ventilation project in Mako Mine that you mentioned in 2Q earning calls? That would help increase the mining capacity to 3,000 tons per day. We have very good audience today, Mona. They're really following your
Right.
story.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. Yes. With respect to the air ventilation project, it's there. It's done. It's being done continuously because as we open up new stopes, we have to make sure that the air is habitable or livable. Okay. So because safety is a primary issue in mining industry,
Mm,
so we're so conscious about that, and that is something that we have to maintain. What I basically discussed also was the expansion was more of expanding the water drainage. That drainage was critical for
mm,
increasing the resource. Okay, so
mm,
once we push through with the drainage tunnel, okay, our resource will really jump. So let's see. Because
mm.
we've already mapped the drainage tunnel. It's around 2+ kilometers, and we discovered there's 17 veins in there. So, let's see. I don't know if 17 or 14, but thereabouts.
May indicative ore grade na ba yan at this early or wala pa yan?
Wala pa
Okay.
yan.
Anyway, from Kat Santos Alcasabas, how will Apex Mining be affected by the proposed fiscal tax regime for mining companies that has changes on royalty, export, and windfall profit tax? Hmm.
Well, if you look at the target of the government, they wanted to have at least 50% of the EBITDA.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you tack in your royal excise taxes, royalties, LGU taxes, we're now between 37 to 40%.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
so reaching the 50%, it will affect 10% of the net income.
Mhm.
Okay, so if let's say we're gonna do 2 billion, reduced to by 200 million, that would be the net effect.
Mhm. Mhm.
Inshallah, if
And
it's
and mo
approved.
and it's approved?
If it's approved.
If ap I see. Mon, related to that question, 'di ba you have several mining permits that are pending approval.
Yes.
Uh, does the approval depend on the new mining tax regime or oh, meaning it's not really dependent on the new agreement.
No.
Okay. Now from Jongjong Vlogs, how much dividend payout can be expected next year based on projected income this year?
Well, if you achieve 3 billion, then we'll declare 300 million. Basically,
Yeah.
that's around 4.8 centavos next year.
Yeah.
Diba?
That's
But,
pretty good. 4.8
but
centavos.
tininan ko na kanina eh. So, just make sure.
Okay, for Miguel again, just wanted to ask as well, can you give some color regarding the current regulatory environment, given that current administration seems to be pro-mining?
The proof of the pudding is in the eating. I can just have a philosophical statement.
I can understand your position mo, and I don't want to say anything else.
Mahirap talaga eh, mahirap. It's,
Uh,
I cannot say anything. I just, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So, maganda, maganda. Kung hindi, hindi. Kami
uh,
naman eh, we've learned to live with it.
And of course, as you have said earlier, your plans over the next 10 years is mainly focusing on the current mindset you have, no?
No, because if you look at our vision mission statement, we want to
Mm.
become a world class
Mm.
mining company. So that means for gold, we have to hit 250,000 ounces of gold per year. So
Mhm.
that is a vision that we're looking at seriously.
I see. Okay, sir, this is from Omar. I would also like to ask if there are any partnerships with government in the works with Apex. Apex
Yeah.
apparel for the
I
women.
know. Sa mine safety, we have a jacket, we have a cap, we have shirt being given. So if you go to Baguio in the mine safety week, visit our booth. Maraming giveaways yan.
What you
Visit
mentioned
mo.
earlier, you're going to give our regular audience a taste of that cacao that you make there in where's that again? Is
Yeah,
that in
that's correct. Because we're basically right now packaging for our Christmas giveaways and our chocolate products from those cooperatives that we basically are supporting.
siguro ano for our regular audience, you can probably reach out to us so that we can give that to you, no? And we'll just coordinate with Mon regarding that cacao nibs, no? Is that right, Mon?
Tableya, may tableya at may
Lovely.
nibs.
Lovely, yeah. Oh, perfect for Christmas. Anyway, from Harvey Tan, company performance is not yet reflected in the stock price. Is there plans to properly reflect it?
Basically, we've been targeting three research so that at least we're reflected in the Bloomberg.
Mhm,
And then we're discussing with, let's say, fund managers, local.
mhm.
But the researchers are not, what do you call this? Are not producing the products.
Believe me, believe me, it's there, Mon. I guess we just need a few more. We just need to refine the numbers a little bit, no. But it's there. It's there. Bumalik sa akin yun. From Omar again, lastly, what is your take about the saying apex, the start of something big?
Who said that? Let's
Any
just
comment?
say that Apex uh, takes our mission vision seriously.
Mm,
So right now, uh, a lot of people a lot of companies come to us
mm,
proposing their uh, properties. So our geologists are actively evaluating a lot of proposals. So we haven't closed anything yet,
mm.
okay? But we continue to entertain uh, possible, what they call this, investment opportunities for new properties.
Mhm, mhm. Okay. I guess this is we are almost out of time. Actually, we've reached the 60-minute mark, but I guess we can probably we have a few more questions kasi Mone. Can you spare us 10 minutes more of your time just to
Sure.
go through some more questions? Um this is from Harvey Tan. Company perform. Well, you mentioned this already, but Harvey, I just want to make a comment and just to highlight because we mentioned in our invite that Apex is, I think it's a rare gem, or is an underappreciated mining company at this point that is trading at three times PE, as we all know, basing from your comments. Um, from my perspective, I was in preparation for this call. There, Apex is probably gonna make 3.5 pesos this year, and if they do it again next year, that's already equivalent to their market capitalization. Other than the three times PE, if Mon will continue to declare 300 million in terms of dividends, that's like 10% na on a 2-year for a 2-year time frame, no, Mon? So, I mean, I don't know what the market will be waiting for, but something like that, those numbers will really get the attention of, if not just the local investors, even foreign investors. So this is from Jaime Zalamea. Can you give us an update on the life expectancy of both the Mako and Sangilo mines?
Okay, current resource is up to 2032, but the exploration is expanding, so we continuously are uncovering new resource, but it still be we need a third party competent person report. So Sangilo, we haven't included the 19 million tons or the 30 million tons prospect prospective resource. Okay,
Mm.
so that means the 19 million tons alone is, let's say you're only doing uh, 2,000 tons per day.
Mm.
That's only what 700,000 tons. So
Yeah.
19 million is more than 10 years.
Mm, mm.
In
Mon,
fact,
just to follow up.
20 years plus.
Plus nga eh. So what are we really waiting for to really take advantage of that resource? Is it a permit?
Permit,
It's the permit lang.
permitting.
I see. Okay, from Raf Urge. Sir, I have not noticed the shares of Apex in More Electric being mentioned in Apex quarterly financial report. Any updates on More Electric?
No, we're not related to More Electric. It has been basically uh, spun off already. It's not ours.
I see.
It's
That's why I
under
didn't see it
Dr.
there.
Brown.
Oh, okay. I guess this is a good follow-up question. No? Yan, from Steady Tito. Sir Mon, are you excited with the potential of SC72? Especially PBBM will go to China this January.
Ano ang valuation ng peak ng isang pagitan? Yun ang tanong. Kasi dati, when I was valuing PXP was at those times was as when I was an analyst was
60.
70 plus.
Yan, yan. Yan. 60 to 80 rin yung compute namin dyan eh. Aha, aha. Okay, so I mean just to pull everything back down to earth a little bit, no. So for you to realize this kind of value, how much kind of what kind of capex are we looking at to realize this kind of value, Bon?
Well,
Will you be
according
spending a
to
lot?
our, yes, because that's but the nice thing about oil is that the leveraging is abnormal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because the oil is easily you can do 20 times. Meaning
Mm-hmm.
you put out $1, they'll put out $19.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm, that's wow, weird. So okay lang yun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes, the first few holes it's all on us. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we're spending a few $1 million to that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but of course, we're basically preparing for that. So if
Mm-hmm.
there's an eventuality, we have the our cash position is capable of answering the first two holes. I think.
I see. Okay. That's at least that's very good guidance for the time being. Um Miss MSBQ789. I love to see the company's growth, but how do we pacify or comfort environmentalists that there
I think
is a
I'd like to make a correction. Yung more
yeah.
electric is not with us. It's not with Dr. Brown. It's with EKR pala. Sorry.
I see. Thanks for the clarification, Mon. Akala ko, I was wondering what you needed to check on your monitor.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this is a question, Mon, from Miss MSBQ789. So I love to see the company's growth, but how do we pacify or comfort environmentalists that there is a balance in expansion and sustainability given the undeniable climate change? Hmm, very relevant question.
Yes, yes, it is relevant given that there's an ESG, uh, what they call this,
Trust, move.
happening
Yeah.
right now, movement. And
Mm,
right now, what we can say is that I think it's the stigma of mining being a polluter is too strong. But
mhm,
if you look at our carbon footprint, we're basically right now neutral and we
mhm,
continue to be active. And with respect to the 17 sustainable goals
mhm,
of the UNDP, the mining industry is way ahead of all other industries. We're not
mhm,
greenwashing. The problem is the mining industry is not greenwashing,
mhm,
and especially the Philippines. Because the Philippines, we have the government SDMP program, which is basically your ESG already.
mhm,
So whatever the other companies are doing, where can you see that easily what 10% of
mhm,
cost of goods sold of a company is dedicated for the 17 sustainable goals.
that's
Okay,
right.
it's only in the mining industry that's
Mm,
easily 10% of their cost of goods sold on those 17.
mm,
Where do you see that? No. Even let's say retailers, do
mm,
you see that? No. They say, oh, we did this. But look at their earnings, look at the percentage that they spend on those things as compared to the mining industry. We were just really, let's just say, attacked by the environmentalists because they saw us as a what do you call this as a big target.
yeah. So
We
easy.
as an industry is we are not very proactive with respect to telling everyone that we are green because if you look at the legacy mines, it exists and it did
Mm,
happen. Okay, so it is really a black mark on us, on the
mhm,
industry, but that is not on all companies in the industry. Okay,
mhm,
right now,
yeah,
if you look at the current technology and the current practices in the mining industry, it has changed
mm,
a lot. And corporate citizenship is an idea that is espoused by the industry.
mhm,
Okay? So that's why we have Pusong Minero. That's why
mm,
look at the mining industry. We're now trying to uh, reach out and tell everyone, no, we're doing this. But
mm,
it happened that there's a loud few. We just remain to
yeah.
be silent majority.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Mon, I'm just very conscious of the time. But will you let us take one more question?
Sure.
Okay, one more question. One last question. Do we have one more? Okay, this is from Raf Urge. My understanding before that Apex has have 12.5% shares in more electric and power cord. It was mentioned before in financial report.
I think that was more than 3 years ago. That FS.
Hmm.
So, Rob, I'm sorry to say it's not with our hands anymore. It's not within the company. It's that more electric. Yeah.
I guess you just help power. Mon, yeah, we're pretty much out of time. But I know that there's so much interest for Apex. I know that this is not. I can promise you that this will not be the last earnings call that we're gonna have with you. If you ask me, we'd want to continue to follow the story of yours, the story of Apex, especially next year when market sentiment is hopefully much better. But Mon, for our audience, for everyone who's joined us today, do you still want to get this? It's a very good question kasi.
Yes, if you look at the insurgency of Davao de Oro, basically zero. They're
Mm,
saying that the right now the peace and order situation in our operating mines are safe. We we're not encountering insurgency. If ever uh, we don't hear about it, and it seems
Mhm.
the military or the peacekeeping force of the government is active, and we're quite. I think the safety of our workers remain a priority, and
Mhm.
we continue to make sure that the work environment is safe. Okay.
Okay. Mon, other than that, would you have some closing remarks for everyone who joined us for this call?
Uh, the company, what it calls, heard you with respect to your call for dividends,
Mhm.
and that's why we declared it, and it's now a policy. Hopefully, moving forward, uh, we would be more gracious. Okay, if we have enough cash
Mhm.
to pay cash, uh, but what we're more interested in is the concept that we want to be a world class organization. Okay,
Mhm.
so we strive in terms of having a culture, having prospects for more to happen in the future. So Harvey, TP8, hopefully it comes through.
Well, Mon, thank you very much once again for the time that you've shared with us, for the information and for the comprehensive business performance results business results you've shared with us for Apex. And you know what? For your full year 2022, we're definitely gonna have to bring you back.
If
Apex.
Contact 72 happens, Yong Long.
Napalabas siya pa kay Mon yan. Well, Mon, thank you very much once again, and we hope to see you soon. Hopefully, we can provide that report to provide more information to all of our listeners, our followers, our clients, our investors, and our dear audience who are very smart and have been closely following Apex. You may have missed some parts of this video, but please be assured that we will be uploading the a replay of this event in our YouTube channel. We are targeting one more, hopefully a few more calls, earnings calls before the end of the year. But let me just remind you, it's been a fun discussion this afternoon. But let me just say this: we definitely invite companies here because we would like our audience and our investors to learn more about several listed companies, especially those that are under the radar, so that it can help you generate better returns, hopefully, than what the market can provide. I just have to remind everyone to keep on digging, do your own study, because what we give to you here is just the knowledge, but really investment returns will have to come from your own research as well. So on behalf of AB Capital Securities, this is Jeff Tang once again, and I hope to see everyone soon on our next earnings call. Thank you very much, everyone. Goodbye.